everyone. So today I am making a babka because I had made one a few weeks ago and I put it on my Instagram and a friend of mine wanted me to make one for them. So I figured it's kind of a fun thing to make for a video because it looks really complicated, but it's really not. So I figured I would show you how to make one as I make one for my friend. So I did already go ahead and make the dough because that's boring to watch me make. And I didn't want to have to, have you watch the mixer go around and around for 6 or 7 minutes. So this dough basically is flour, milk, butter, yeast, sugar, salt, and eggs. Lots of butter. It's a really rich dough, which is what makes it so good. So I'm going to roll this out into a pretty big rectangle. I should say that babka is, it's a Jewish Polish pastry. It can have anything in it. It can be savory, it can be sweet. A lot of times you'll see chocolate. Chocolate's great, and I love it. But this one is going to be sort of a baklava version. So it's gonna have ground walnuts, ground pistachios, cinnamon sugar, butter, and then I'm gonna finish it with like a really rich honey syrup. So essentially all the components of a baklava, but in this babka. So you do want to roll it out. This is going to make 2. So I'm going to roll it out pretty big. And this dough is forgiving. You're not going to hurt it. It's got a lot of elasticity and it will roll out pretty big. I'm going to stop soon, but so we're pretty good now. Okay. So the first step is going to be brushing the whole thing all over with too much butter. So I have a bunch of melted butter here. I'm gonna leave a little edge at the top. So when I roll it up, there's not butter on it and I can seal it. But I'm gonna pretty much go to the edge on the whole thing. And what people love about this is it lasts for a really long time because it's so enriched with butter and eggs. And it's just delicious for breakfast. It's delicious for dessert. It's really good all the time. And it looks beautiful. So it's pretty popular on Instagram because everyone likes to post things that are beautiful. This is. I'm probably not going to use all of this butter because I don't think that it needs all of it. Use your judgment. Sometimes recipes call for things that they don't need, but when you bake all the time, you kind of get a feel. So I'm gonna stop there. I have cinnamon and sugar here, which I'm just gonna sprinkle all over, and I'm gonna use most of this because it really does flavor the dough. The dough doesn't have a lot of flavor in it. It has a little vanilla and some salt and sugar, but nothing much else. So I'm gonna spread all this around, and you will see how incredibly messy this is to cut because of this. So that's all out. You wanna spread it all around. And then I have this bowl of pistachios and walnuts. So as far as the nuts go, when I buy nuts, I always buy raw nuts and toast them for whatever I'm using. The only thing I don't do that with would be peanuts, which I tend to buy already toasted. I love cocktail peanuts in things that I'm cooking. But these nuts were raw, pistachios and walnuts. I toasted them and then ground them pretty fine. So the thing to remember is, with toasting nuts, toast them before. A lot of people think it's gonna go in the oven, the nuts are gonna get toasted then. But if the nuts are inside of this, they're gonna steam more than they are toast. So you're not gonna get the same flavor out of them. So it's definitely better to toast them prior to putting them in something like this. So you get that toasty flavor and it's not just gonna go into the dough and not really provide much. So I would push all of this down. Make sure it's somewhat adhered. You've got all that butter and cinnamon sugar. And now is the fun part, and the fun part that I love the most. So you're gonna roll this up from the bottom. And I try to roll it kind of tight, the best that I can. And you can see that this is not all in there. The nuts are kind of moving around, and they will when you cut it, and you'll see this probably will. Many people may not want to make this because it does make a mess, but it's really easy to clean up. So I'm gonna roll this into this log and pinch this seam shut. It's not gonna wind up opening, but it's just a good idea to pinch it shut. Now you have, this is enough for 2. So I have 2 loaf pans here. I have greased them and then sugared them. Now I sugar everything. You'll see a lot of recipes call for buttered and floured molds. I grew up baking like that. Flouring them is good, but I don't really like the quality that the cake or bread or anything you put on the outside or anything you bake in that is gonna get. So I use sugar. The sugar will caramelize around the edge and give you this really nice sweet crust. So that's what I like. Now with this, I'm gonna cut off the ends, and typically you'd throw them away, but I have these little foil cups, and if I cut the ends of this off and put them in here and let them proof, they're just gonna be like little, you know, baklava buns, almost cinnamon rolls. So that's what I'm gonna do first. They do like to use a serrated knife for this. It tends to go through the dough a little bit easier. So here's the first one, and I'm just gonna pop this in the cup and I'll let this proof. And it looks not great now, but it will. I'm gonna cut the other end off, put that in my other cup. Okay, so this is the fun part. I'm gonna cut this in half, and now you have essentially your two babkas, and you can see that it's all twisted there. So I'm gonna cut this in half, right down the middle. And this is when it starts to look crazy. Now, you're gonna see the 2 halves. Make sure to cut all the way through. And you're gonna twist this up. And this is where the mess comes in. And you're gonna think, when you put it in the pan, so I just kind of twist it up like this and drop it in. You're gonna think, this looks like shit. I don't think this is gonna work. This isn't what it looks like in the pictures. Trust me, this is fine. This bread is gonna proof again, so it's gonna rise more. Then you're gonna put it in the oven, it's gonna rise again. So even though you think it looks like garbage when you put it in your pan, I promise you it is going to be beautiful. So I'm gonna do the other one. And now this is gonna proof for another hour. So I'm just gonna kind of set them in my warm oven, let them sit there. When they're about 1.5 times the size they are now, I'm going to brush them with a little egg wash, sprinkle a little more nut over the top, and then bake them. And when they come out, I will show you how to finish them. Okay, so I lied, I came back in between baking them. So I just wanted to show you how much they rise in the pans and how much better it looks now. And also the little ones that I made from the ends, they've also risen quite a bit and filled out these cups. So those are just gonna be like little cinnamon rolls. So these won't bake as long, but I'm just gonna put a little egg wash on the top, and then I'm gonna sprinkle the nuts on top and put them in the oven. And when they come out, I'm gonna put some honey syrup on them, and I'll show you that part. Okay, so the babkas come out of the oven, at least the one in the metal pan. Glass can sometimes take longer to bake. The little ones came out. So you can see these are just like, almost like little muffins. And they're soaked with the honey syrup, so they're really soft and delicious. So those are gonna sit right there. So what you do is, for this version, I have this honey and water that I reduced a little bit, and I'm just gonna brush this all over the top of the babka. So it's best to do it when it's hot, because all the honey is gonna seep into it. And that's what's gonna give it even more of the baklava kind of flavor, is all this honey. So I'm gonna use half on this one and half on the other one, which is in the oven a few minutes longer. And this will probably be good for a week. It has so much honey, so much butter, so many eggs that it just stays moist and delicious. This one is going to my friend. She requested one. If you saw this and you want one, feel free to shoot me a text. I do have an extra that I will be probably not eating and wanting to go to a happier home. I mean, not a happier home, but a home that's gonna eat it. There's tons of baked goods here, and I don't need to be eating any more of this. So if anybody would like one, feel free to send me a message, and either I can get you this one or I can make you another one. So this is what it looks like. I'm gonna let it sit in the pan and cool off, and it should come right out when it's ready. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.